her past she'd closed to words had, since Dot died, begun to anger me. And the anger felt not good exactly, but filling in a way Mr. Dreyfus's wedding supper of coarse brown bread had not. Outside, a dog howled. Insects, silent for an instant, pitched into their next throbbing chorus. Naughty eyes glared at me from boxes and stacked barrels. The slanted rafters became the roof of a great, toothless mouth fixing to swallow me. I scooted from the cot to the dormer window and opened my scrapbook, my one treasure. It was nothing special, no cover or binding to speak of, just a cured goatskin shell. Dot had shown me how to sew sheets of foolscap together to make a book. It hurt me to leave my other scrapbooks behind, for I was sure John's wife must have burned them. John was Dot's son. For as long as I could remember, he had been sending lithographed letter sheets with pictures of buildings and views of California, and had written almost exclusively about foods I had never tasted and could barely imagine. Pineapple, mango, banana. Dot called them hungry letters. "No one getting their fill," she said, "writes so much about food." She needn't have worried. It was no thin, hungry man, but a giant who arrived in May of that year. His wife was Mexican, and Chinese, and something else besides. I flipped through to the page in my scrapbook that said, "Juanita digs her fingernails into her palm when John looks at Mama." I wasn't sure what made me write this down, or why that night I found myself staring at those words. Inside my scrapbook, I kept all sorts. Mr. Dreyfus's letters, of course. There were 3 of them. Also a 4-leaf clover, a dragonfly's wing with silver veins webbing the transparent skin, a yellowing piece of cigarette paper, a blade of grass, a torn Confederate note, 9 silver fish scales arranged in a circle. None of the lilacs I'd pressed remained intact. They left behind rust-colored impressions of a stem, a leaf. I'd glued a braided clump of Dot's hair behind the cover, but this hadn't preserved Dot either. Not her voice, which I was already forgetting, or her spirit. Nothing. I knew this, but still that fragmented hodgepodge remained necessary to me without qualification. Remained, I suppose, a reflection as true as any I found in a mirror, and the only record I had of the past. Mama, who could spend hours hunched over her lace-making, teasing patterns from hopeless tangles of thread, spoke little of her people or her past. Dot blamed the war for her silence. She blamed the war for everything else as well, and when I was old enough to consider such things, I remember thinking the whole of human history must be divided into 3 distinct eras: before the war, during the war, after the war. The war itself was a knot, joining the before and after. When you think about it like that, without the war to bind them, the past and the future might never have met at all, but remained part of 2 different ropes, 2 different stories, 2 different countries. I do know that I was born in the middle of that knot, in a wattle and daub house a mile outside of Susanville, Kentucky. That's southwest of Somerset, if you're looking on a map. My father's name was Landis Wilcox. He was the middle son of Abel Wilcox, on whose land Mama's family cropped, alongside free Negroes and hired-out slaves. Mama, she thought Landis was going to marry and make a lady of her, but he went away to fight alongside his brother and Daddy a good while before Mama came to figure it was a baby ailing her. Landis's mama, Mrs. Abel Wilcox, called her something filthy and turned her away, which was bad, but made some sense to me. What didn't was how Mama's own family could have turned her out, or how they managed to use God as the reason. She was 13 years old.